So there's an interesting developments as it relates to the primaries that happened in Anambra State recently. We've seen Abgad returning the incumbent governor. We've seen PDP do their own just recently. We've seen Labour Party do theirs. But the one that is in the middle of the whole controversy right now is this Anambra's primaries as it relates to APC. Valentine Ozigbo is saying that it's fraud. What he has seen so far is that APC fraudulently gave the position of the flag bearership of their party to Ukachukwu. Let's just read the news and then I'll give you a lowdown and analysis of it. Valentine Ozigbo, an aspirant in the just concluded governorship primaries of the APC in Anambra State, has petitioned the party's appeals committee over the conduct of the exercise. Mr. Ozigbo, who recently defected to the APC from the Labour Party, said in a statement on Tuesday that the APC governorship primary was a fraud and a charade. The sham of April 5th was not just a fraud against me, it was a theft against India Anambra. To the architect of that manipulation, I say this: the future cannot be bribed or bullied. The people are watching. History is recording, he stated. A former House of Representatives member, Nicholas Ukachukwu, won the APC governorship election conducted on Saturday. Mr. Ukachukwu scored 1,455 votes to win the APC's governorship ticket, while Mr. Ozigbo polled only 67. Two other aspirants, Edozie, Madu, and Johnbosco, Onunkwo, secured 8 and 26 votes respectively. The Independent National Electoral Commission set a 10th April deadline for political parties to complete their primary elections. The governorship election is scheduled to take place on November 8, 2025. In the statements, Ozigbo said that he is formally submitting his petition to the appeals committee of the party, challenging the so-called primary election conducted in Anambra on April 5th. It says, quote, that exercise by all observation was a charade, a well-orchestrated haste designed to deliver a predetermined outcome, he said in a statement on his Facebook page. The politician alleged that there were irregularities and manipulations in the election. The facts are now public. Non-party members populated the delegate list. Genuine party faithful were locked out or violently barred from voting. Accreditation was either skipped or manipulated, and votes were counted without transparency. This is not just about me, it's about the soul of our democracy, about the values we claim to represent, about the future we owe our children, he said. So let me just stop there. So Valentine Ozigbo, great guy, 54-year-old, young, vibrant. I mean, by just looking at him, you know, he's just someone who is looking to serve his people, someone who you could speak to when it comes to issues regarding the country, approachable. I think that there was one of those days I met him in the airport. I greeted him. He's not the kind of politician that is hydra-headed. What I mean is that you can't come close to me, don't come close to me, that kind of guy. He's not that kind of politician. He's somebody who's approachable, who's pretty cool. Beyond that, we know that politics is beyond that. But I really don't know if he is very strong. And this guy is very sound when it comes to accounting. He's a member of the Chartered Institute of Accounting. He's also been the CEO of Transcorp Hotels. Transcorp Hotels is a subsidiary of Transcorp, the group. He's also managed, he has been around. I mean, he's been a banker before. So when it comes to professionally in his life, you can say he has been successful in his professional duties. But that you are professional and you are pretty sound when it comes to your business or managing companies or being a banker doesn't translate to you becoming successful in politics. Why do I say that? Now, this guy was in PDP. He won the primary tickets. He was in PDP in 2021. 2021 was the first time they did an Anambra State elections that brought Soludo into power. So he was with the PDP, won that particular PDP primaries, the ticket, and went on to go contest for the elections, which he eventually lost. But he did pretty good, looking at the numbers. Now, he now left the party and then joined Peter Obi in 2022. So he took all the supporters of PDP and joined Peter Obi in 2022 for the Labour Party and stayed for a while. One would have thought that, given the strength of Peter Obi in that state, given the numbers that he was able to gather, over 97% in the presidential election, it is easy for him to tap into that fold and make some numbers and make some impact. Even if he doesn't win, make some impact for the next election, because you could say that Soludo could use incumbent power to do and undo. And with what I'm seeing, because of his level of commitment and level of relationship with the federal may not necessarily want to do anything like what they did in Edo. The federal went all out. I don't want to go further in that, but that would be for another day. So for Anambra, you could say you are doing that to make impact, let people know you are still around. But I don't know whether it's political naivety or political irresponsibility or inexperience in politics that made him make that move of joining the APC. First of all, let's talk about APC in the Southeast. APC hasn't been able to make any inroads. As I am a journalist in Enugu in the Southeast, and I've been around for over 15 years in the Southeast. And by and large, there is still this sentiment of APC as a party in the Southeast, a sentiment of what happened in 2023. The truth is, the average Southeasterner is very angry with APC and PDP over the 2023 elections. That's the reason why the numbers went berserk when it comes to going for Peter Obi, more than 97% for Anambra and the rest. Well, we could check around. He scored a very high margin in the Southeast. That's why no party was able to make any inroads at the presidential level. Now, there's this sentiment that you are supposed to have given the ticket of your party for the presidential election to an Igbo man, given that this thing is coming to the South. And if you look at the particular southern presidential candidates in the past, Southwest has gotten on Obasanjo's ticket, South has gotten on Goodluck Jonathan's ticket. So it's only Southeast in the South that hasn't gotten the opportunity to become the president of this country. If you give them and they go and lose, it's a different ballgame. But these two parties refuse. So that sentiment is still there. That's the reason why most people went to vote the Labour Party. It's not like Peter Obi, yes, he may have had some wave, he may have been credible, but it's not all about that made people go for Peter Obi. And he was scoring over 97% in states in the Southeast. So it is just because of that. That sentiment is still there. And people still have that thing at the back of their mind, that this party hasn't done us well. This party has shortchanged us, and so we are going to pay them in any way possible. We are not going to vote for them, both federal and state. And by the way, some of you will be arguing. We are talking about APC. Okay, what happened to Imo? What happened to Ebonyi? These are two APC states. I mean, guys, you can go to the ground right now and ask them. And by the way, I'm not in any way trying to say that those guys did not win the elections, but the majority of people who I spoke to across board will tell you that there are some irregularities that happened in that election. Both the one that brought Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, and of course the one that brought the Wayfro of Ebonyi State. So you can't really say that APC has won a clear election, free and fair, in the Southeast. You can't really say it. I'm not saying people who have not reportedly won an election, didn't win the election. After all, people went to court. But with what I have noticed, I have seen, which of course might be wrong, because I'm a human, but you can't really say, beating your chest, speaking to people across board, across political divide, that APC has actually won a clear, free and fair election that doesn't have a federal might involved, that doesn't have an incumbent involved in and around the Southeast. Nowhere. So that sentiment still exists. But I'm just wondering, on what basis was Valentine Ozigbo moving to the APC? I mean, if you look at the calculations, like it or leave it, plus or minus, I mean, the best bet you go back to PDP. Okay? PDP is still, still a little bit of pinch here and there. We have a PDP person in Enugu, whom he can, speak to or ask for help from in order to, get some things done. But you left a Labour Party that has a Peter Obi who still has that commanding influence in Anambra with these last numbers, and left him to go to the APC. I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe in his mind he was thinking he might use federal might against Toludo. That's one. But he's wrong on that number, because even the federal might, at the heat of Buhari's administration, with all the federal might, Anambrans, they hear those federal nonsense. The person that they want to vote is the person that they want to vote. And God help you, you go and choose, you go and write somebody else's, or maybe you return the numbers that is not there. I mean, you are actually joking with your life, as the case may be. Now, there is no way in the world you can use federal might and go and fight Anambarians for an APC to win. And even at that, you just joined the party 2 months ago. You joined sometime in February. Was it in February or so? And this is April. What platforms have you built? What engagement have you done in the party to warrant you to win the ticket? You don't know who is who, and then you are now telling us, that people who were delegates were not allowed in. How did you know that they're not the delegates? Who told you that they're delegates in the first place? How did you know them? I just felt that Ukachukwu used his structures within the party to beat you. Because, I mean, how do you know? How do you know that they're not real delegates? He said people were locked out. How do you know that? So I don't think he calculated well. Then on the second round, there are places that APC will use federal might in and then go scot-free with it. Why? Because the candidates are 50-50, 40-60, 45-55. Yes, you will see what happened in Edo State. Some people will say, you know what, that Edo was 60-40, 65-55, 45, that kind of thing. And so because of that, they said, okay, let's just use federal might. But, I mean, even the United States reacted to that particular tribunal judgment. The thing is still on. They're still going for an appeal. But, I mean, we're still talking about it. Like I said, one day we'll talk about that elections. But Valentine Ozigbo was so wrong in the way and manner he moved to the APC. I don't know whether it is looking to use federal might, or that he was thinking, okay, when he loses, they might be giving a ministerial position, or maybe appointing position, and maybe an ambassadorial position, to go for him to go and chill or something. I don't know, but my mind is just running helter-skelter, because I really don't understand why somebody will, in their right mind, decide to move from a Labour Party that has seemed to make inroads in the Southeast, that's now amongst the dominant parties across the country, given the numbers, especially in Anambra, where Peter Obi comes from. Peter Obi is a huge factor in Anambra State. Imagine him and Peter Obi going for that campaign throughout the 23 local government areas. in Anambra State. Imagine him going around with that campaign and getting people off the table and making sure that they come out to vote. Imagine the numbers. It's so painful that Valentine has got himself into this kind of mess, and maybe this is the first time he's experiencing a rigging against him, because I mean there's no proof. You can't just write a petition about what has happened without really proving it. You have to prove beyond reasonable doubt to the committee that people who were locked out were actually people who were not members of the party, or people who were allowed in were people who were, you know, I don't know, the numbers, the thing doesn't even line up. And in politics, whatever you can use to beat the opponent, so be it. Whatever you can use to beat the opponent, so be it. And I'm so angry, I'm so pained, because the guy looks like somebody who, you know, who is quiet, but not beyond being quiet, but who can transform his private sector experience into public sector, because he looks to me like somebody who can be in the level or in the deliverables of what Peter Obi could do, and of course what Peter Mba is doing in Enugu. You know, he looks like me, like that kind of person. I might be wrong, of course. We don't know these people until they start manifesting. So I'm so pained about what was going on. Some people are laughing at him and say that's good for him. He left Peter Obi to go to the APC, and now they have shown him shaggy. I mean, it's nothing to laugh about. I mean, it's okay to laugh, it's democracy. But again, I just feel that he may have made a huge mistake by stepping into a party that really doesn't have inroads in the Southeast, as a party that has done really nothing to even integrate people of the party into the mainstream politics. We've seen people who have been talking about marginalization. I mean, Alim Jume the other day started talking about marginalization. Go and look at the numbers of people who have been appointed from the Southeast zone. And the party hasn't said anything about that. The presidency is just reacting, saying that it's false. But truly, the numbers show that most of the appointments are domiciled in the Southwest. Look at the numbers of ministers, more from the Southwest than any other zone. So when you see these kinds of things that the party isn't even speaking about, the party really care less about what's happening in the Southeast, because they know that the Southeast will not support it. And the Southeast largely are still angry about what happened in 2023. And that's the same thing that may most likely play out in 2027, except there's a special appeal. What I mean, that special appeal, that's something that will be done that would really appease the minds of the Southeast going into that election in 2027. Beyond that, anything else that will be coming out that would look like advantage to the APC would be maybe manipulation or rigging or number calling. You know, it might not necessarily be the true reflection of what's on the ground, you know. So I don't know what you guys think, though. Let me know what you think about Ozigbo headed towards the tribunal, set out to take care of issues when it comes to primaries disputes. What's your take on it? I would love to hear from you. I appreciate your watching. To see you on the next one. Cheers.